everyone, today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster Glassway with Hunter. For my subclass, I'll be using Night Stalker. Here are the mods and fragments I'll be using in this video. For my kinetic, I'll be using a scout rifle with shoot to loot. Next, I'll be using lemon arc with catalyst. For my heavy, I'll be using the rocket, red herring. For my helmet, I'll be using ripping well maker, rocket launcher ammo finder with 10 mobility. For the gauntlets, I'll be using overload bow, anti-barrier scout rifle, reactive pulse, and 10 resilience. For my exotic, I'll be using 6 coyote with double solar and arc resilience. Next, I'll be using rocket launcher scavenger, powerful friends, double bomber, beautiful wells, and 10 mobility. Alright guys, so for this week, I decided to go for Night Stalker, Hunter, and I'm going to be sparing all the way to the actual Nightfall. Yes, I am now using always on time for my Hunter. I thought I'd switch it up for this video, so I'll use the Crimson Sparrow. Even though it's slow, but it's pretty, you know, it's very pretty. And now we can actually go to the Nightfall. I will say this run was a bit slow. The only reason why this video is long is because the boss fight of the Overload champions. That's the main reason why. Everything else was pretty simple. Mainly you can spam and abuse lemon arc. And you can spam rockets. Now the rockets I'm using has frenzy. I do recommend to craft frenzy if you don't have a really good rocket. Then I do recommend trying out the red heron. Or you can use Taipan. Now the reason why I'm not using Taipan is, I would say 3 reasons. Okay, first reason, I haven't leveled it up fully. 2, I ran out of craft materials. 3, it is really difficult and frustrating to do precision shots on the stomach, especially with console aim assist. And I did try using threaded needle. It wasn't working out. I'll explain more why. But for now, we are going to deal with the Overload champion that will spawn at the left and then try his best to go to the right side. Make sure you clear down all these ads. They have the ability to melee you and throw grenades and hop around. Make sure you take down this Overload champion before you pass the cliff. Because if you do pass almost towards the rock you can see in front of me, you will spawn the barrier baby servitor and a lot of fallen ads. So I'm going to reload my rocket and I'm going to make these ads spawn. So mainly there's a couple on the left and around 3 ads from the right side, or 4. So make sure you take them down, and if you do take them down fast enough, then it'll just be the barrier servitor alone, and you can just do DPS, spam rockets, and then just make your way to the next section. Now I am pulling back because I wanted to get some rocket. Alright, so I'm just gonna shoot it. Yes, I know double ammo doesn't work anymore, but it's fun to shoot heavy ammo, and it's completely useful in any Grandmaster Nightfalls. So as we proceed to this next section, this one's a bit tricky. Mainly you want to take down the Overload champion fast. You do have a certain time limit. So if you don't take down the Overload fast enough, these fallen ads from the left side will try to melee and throw arc grenades at you. Now for this footage, I didn't make it, so a lot of fallen ads did try their best to melee me and try to throw and shoot arc. If things like that happen to you, then I do recommend to put a smoke from the left side and then just multitask with the Overload champion and clear down a couple ads with lemon arc. Now, I did clear down all the ads, so now I can deal with the mini-boss. So this mini-boss is very tanky. That's one of the reasons why I decided to use Lemonarch. I was going to use a different bow, but I changed my mind because mainly I was just having trouble with the Overload champions. And I don't have the best DPS heavy for this Nightfall, and of course the one I mainly was supposed to use, Taipan. I cannot craft it into the right weapon perks at the moment, so I have to use another weapon for now. So once I clear down the mini boss, there will be a couple ads from the left and the right. I always throw my grenade from the right side. Mainly a lot of ads spawn there than the left side. The bigger champions RNG, by the way, it's random. It will spawn from the left or the right side. Completely random. Don't know why. It's always been like that for years. Make sure you stagger the barrier champion. Clear the ads before doing DPS of the barrier champion, because the barrier champion isn't really the biggest threat. Mainly is the fallen ads that can shoot arc or melee you or throw nades. They're the ones that give the most big threat, and yes, this barrier champion's giving me some trouble. Sometimes this servitor likes to teleport and hide behind a rock, like right now. Come on, barrier champion, I just want to get this Nightfall done. So be very careful with these barrier champions because they do like to hide behind rocks. No one's perfect, alright? I'm not a perfect player. Things happen. Now this is probably the most annoying section. I remember the first time doing this on GM, I used to get one shot, but now it's easier than ever. I'll just be completely honest with that. So I am gonna back away. I want the ads to spawn. There will be a couple shanks, couple of snipers, and the most annoying overload champion you will ever face in your life. Well, it was. Not anymore for this season. It's a big joke for this season. The mini boss can't one-shot you. Nah, he used to back in the day. Not anymore. GMs is actually way more easier than ever. Just letting everyone know that. The only problem I have trouble for this Nightfall is just the boss fight, overload champions. That's about it. Wyverns, not so much. They're completely nerfed, or if you put high resilience, they don't really hurt you that bad compared to previous old Grandmaster Glassway. And if you don't believe me, just check out my old Glassway runs. It's completely different compared to now. Now I did want to bait the overload champion. Once I do, I'm gonna spam rockets, and then hopefully this overload champion will behave. So the power Lemonarch, right? It is extremely wonderful of spamming Lemonarch. Now the only reason why I shot the heavy ammo is I don't want to pass the rock. If I pass the rock almost close to the wall up there, I'm gonna make the barrier champion to spawn in more ads. I don't want that to happen because if I push and pass that wall, right, the barrier champion is going to immune the mini boss, and I don't want that to happen. I want to make life easier for me and for everyone, so I will try my best to spam Lemonarch and of course abuse the tether. Sometimes I do miss my shots because the boss can be smart and hide behind the walls and the rock. So hopefully this boss will completely get taken down so we can actually deal with the bigger champion. So yeah, shoot to loot is extremely useful. Like I said, it's not double ammo like before, but it still helps. So now I'm going to throw grenades at where the Fallen Ads, Vandal, Shanks are spawning. Making sure everyone gets taken down. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I always just stagger the bigger champion. And then I stagger it with the scat rifle. Hopefully nothing bad will happen, right? Yep, nothing bad will happen. So I am just abusing the rocket. As I said, highly recommend Frenzy. It just helps a lot. You know, you get that sweet extra 15% damage. It really helped me for this Grandmaster because I don't really have a strong rocket, but for this one, which is craftable, really helped me out. And plus my Taipan linear, I wasn't able to level it up and to buy the weapon perks at the moment. I am extremely poor on materials unless Guardians can donate weapon materials. I mean, I wish they could do that. That would be really nice and I could finally get the weapon perks of what I want, but you know, things happen and it's extremely expensive when leveling up your weapons. Alright, so I am going to go on top of this platform just to see what I'm doing. I do want these Shanks to be taken down. Hopefully no heavy bricks will be falling down. If they do, you can try your best to shoot it while it's falling, but it's extremely hard to do because when switching weapons on console it's extremely slow. Trust me, I tried it. So there will be an Overload champion that will spawn. Make sure you tag it. Sometimes it likes to fall to the death pit or the death zone. So make sure you tag it, and also sometimes it falls down from the edge. So make sure you take down the Overload champion quickly because it will fall down and then you have to do DPS all over again. It can be a bit frustrating. Yes, there are a couple of Vandals. I do highly recommend you take them down. I decided to jump on this little platform so I can see and shoot down the mines. I know what you guys are thinking. This run is decent, Blitz. Why is it so long? Like I said, I was having trouble with the Overload champions because they weren't cooperating, alright? I had probably the worst luck of my life, and also bigger champions was not cooperating. I wasted rockets, and it was just a lot of time and patience. Overload champion up ahead, make sure you take him down. I am just spamming Lemonarch, and hopefully the sniper won't snipe me. So make sure you do Lemonarch, and also make sure you put an Overload bow. For some reason, the buff for Lemonarch is around 30 to 35%, but that's not the main reason, alright? I mean, that is one of the reasons, but the main reason why I do recommend you put Overload bow, even though Lemonarch has Overload, is because there's a bug with the Overload Minotaur champions. They don't stagger. It's very frustrating, by the way, and when you do shoot the bow, when you do shoot Lemonarch on the Minotaur Overload champions without the Overload bow mod, they don't get staggered, they just keep walking and shooting void at you. And then thus you go back to orbit. You waste, I would say 15-20 minutes of your and my life, and it's not a very fun feeling, I'll be very honest. So I recommend just to put the bow on so you can get that extra buff. Guarantee of staggering the Overload champions at the boss fight. So mainly we have to capture the plate. And there's gonna be a couple of shanks and explosive shanks. And it isn't really so bad, you know. Now sometimes these shanks and these adds, they drop heavy. So if you do see heavy, quickly switch to your shoot to loot sky rifle and then just grab it. Now for me, I was too slow and I wasn't paying attention. So that heavy brick is pretty much gone, so there goes my extra ammo for that. Now for these solo, there's never really snipers. I never get snipers. Maybe once or twice I got snipers. And if you do get snipers, it's probably very rare and you probably got bad luck. Like the worst luck ever on Glassway. Which is okay because I had bad luck. That worst luck of getting snipers. It's completely rare and it hasn't happened to me for this season and the previous seasons. I would say 2 seasons ago. It did happen to me in the beginning. So once you capture the plate, then there's going to be this overload champion. Make sure you clear down the ads first before dealing with the overload champion. Reason why is because these fallens are going to go all the way from the back of the map, hide, and it's really hard to see them. And sometimes they can get in your way, especially doing DPS on the shank that we will see very soon. I wanted to double check everything before proceeding to the next waves of ads. Mainly there are going to be a couple of snipers from left and right. There are going to be a couple of vandals that will jump. Now this shank is probably the most annoying, where I would pull back. Everyone's different. I just always pull back and use my super. This shank will always consistently shoot, float around, or always go to the ground of the electric pole of death. So make sure you use your super or anything just to deal with this very frustrating, annoying, floaty shank, because this guy will always try his best to annihilate you and send you back to orbit. I'm not even joking. Sometimes my death is result to that specific shank of me trying to get the run done more faster. Now I decided to go to the opposite direction. Mainly there's going to be more snipers and then the bigger champion will spawn. Now make sure you take down the vandals on top because they're the ones that can two-shot you if both of them shoot you at the same time. So I did spot the sniper, so I was trying to see if I can get that sniper from far distance. So just be very careful of the snipers, and eventually they will jump to the ground. So I was trying to figure out if they jump to the ground or they're still on top camping like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare. So I decided to just ignore the snipers from the right side. I was assuming they gave up and then jumped to the ground floor. And there are going to be a couple of snipers from the left side. And there are shanks floating around which the barrier champion can immune. So I did see these snipers jumping to the ground floor, so I decided to go and just proceed to clear down all these ads. So yes, there are these mines that can slow you down. Mainly I want to take down this barrier champion, and this barrier champion is always gonna be on the left, right, middle. Sometimes it falls down to the electric pole. You know, this barrier champion has a mind of its own. Never like this barrier champion. The barrier champion's always going to be annoying no matter what. I was trying to break the shield so I can at least clear down all of these ads because they're melting and is damaging me really bad. So I was being a little cautious over here, trying to see if I can break the shield so this bigger champion can stop shielding and protecting these shanks. Then I was trying to be greedy. Yes, I was trying to be greedy. And I just wanted to ignore the ads and then just take down this bigger champion, like right now. It did work out pretty great, but I was being a little reckless, to be honest. But as you guys notice, yes, I can sometimes be impatient. I did saw a heavy brick, by the way, so I decided to go, as you noticed, the electric pole, and then just grab a couple of heavy ammo. So now we're gonna go to the actual boss fight. Woo! Isn't this gonna be fun? So this is probably the most annoying boss fight. And the reason why I would say it's most annoying is not just this overload champion, it's the minotaurs of this boss fight. And how many champions are at the boss fight? I would say around 16. Around 16 champions you have to take down, and the layout for this section is extremely annoying. And it always has been annoying for many seasons. Now before I start, I just wanted to go down the stairs so we can actually go to the boss fight. But then guess what happened? I missed one little fallen. I thought maybe the game was trolling me, right? And I noticed I missed one little dreg. My bad for that. So finally at the boss fight. There's gonna be a baby adorable Hydra that we have to babysit. Yes, we're gonna be babysitting a Hydra. Then there's gonna be the psychopathic overload champions. And this is when patience has to be your best friend, especially if you're not using a linear. Before I start, yes, I do see a overload champion. So I decided to use my super rocket and get the hell out of here. I am out of here. And this is when I run away and then I retreat. And then I wait for my dodge to regain. So now I had to deal with the second overload champion. Because I'm using a rocket, I have to be very careful of how much rockets I'm using. Okay, there is no artifact mod where I use Loosen Finisher to get heavy bricks for this season. Now, if there was Loosen Finisher or any artifact mod where I can get my heavy by using finishers or defeating champions, then of course I would definitely spam rockets right now, but I can't. I wish I could. I would definitely do it. Now I had to play a little passive, and I definitely need to be careful dealing with these overload champions. Now the reason why I would recommend to put overload bow on your arms, on the armor, is you want to stagger these overload minotaur champions consistently. There's a bug at the moment where if you don't put it on, sometimes it won't get staggered and it's gonna walk around and 3-shot you or 2-shot you, which will send you back to orbit. So always try your best to throw your grenade. Dodge of your life, by the way. Dodge and make sure this champion will be defeated. So I did mess up my DPS, so you can see it is extremely difficult to take down this champion with a rocket, even though it's void AQ, by the way. It's void AQ, and I'm still having trouble dealing with this champion. So mainly for this, right, you will have to throw your nade and shoot about 3 rockets to take down the Overload champion, or 2.5, depending how much damage you do in your grenade. You know, if you do it perfectly, I would say 2.5, where you can shoot 2 rockets, of course throw your nade, then you can use your finisher, but you have to be very, very fast or you will wind up going back to orbit. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck is going on? Well, remember that Hydra where I had to babysit? Well, he's being the stubborn son of a bungee, alright? And he's not letting me take down the Overload champion. I'm not even joking. I'm not over exaggerating. This Hydra is not letting me take down the Overload champion. And like I said, I'm not using a linear fusion. I'm using rockets. I have to be very careful of using rockets for this season, especially for Glassway. So this Overload champion was extremely aggressive, and this Hydra was starting to get on my nerves, so make sure you be very cautious and always throw your grenades. I was trying to find the right spot, like Jesus Christ. This Overload minotaur is so stubborn. As I said before, it's 3 rockets or 2.5. So basically, throw your nade, 2 rockets, and then finisher, but you have to do it precisely. Make sure you stagger the Overload champion first. You have to make sure you throw your nade right to do the finisher. If you don't, then the Minotaur is not going to have the finisher icon, thus it will shoot void and teleport regain his health. And you don't want that to happen. Another method is you could just use 2 rockets and then just spam Lemon Arc, but I tried it and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Now I did use my super to make this baby Hydra disappear, because now I have to deal with more Overload champions. Great. Perfect. What else could go wrong in this Nightfall? By the way, just let everyone know, there will be some time skips of me doing DPS and looking for the bigger champions. I will show some footage of me messing up my DPS because the bigger champions was not cooperating with me as always, and I probably get the worst luck ever. So now there is 2 more Overload champions. So these goblins sometimes get in the way of doing DPS Overload champions. So be aware that these goblins can melt you if you're not careful. So now I am trying to see a good angle. Unfortunately, 2 of them were trapping me and I had to pull back. Now if I was on the Arc Hunter, it would be completely different. You know, I would definitely spam the Overload grenades and definitely would just throw the spear on the Overload champion. Probably next time, but you know, for Night Stalker I had to rely on Lemon Arc to stagger the Overload champions and then throw my nade. Because on just a rocket on its own is not enough DPS, not enough damage to deal with the Overload champions with this specific Overload champion. It is good enough for the fallen Overloads, but for this one, no. And then one thing that really bothers me is when using a linear fusion rifle, you have to do precision shots on the stomach. And sometimes console aim assist can be your worst enemy. So just be very careful when dealing with these Overload champions. So I did use a couple of rockets and then throw my nade. Now I was being extremely impatient. I didn't want to wait for my grenade. So this method, I don't really like doing this method, to be honest. I don't really like it. Now if I was using a linear, alright, you know, I would have already taken down this overload champion and I wouldn't really worry about him too much. You know, the problem with the linear is you have to make sure you stagger the minotaur at front, not behind. Because when it's staggered, right, you need to do precision shots on the stomach, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of complicated. So now we dealt with the overload champions. Now we're just gonna spam Lemonarch. Alright, so I'm gonna do a mini time skip, by the way, until it is 1 bar of its health. Once I spam Lemonarch, now we're gonna deal with the Wyverns. Yes, the Wyverns, which they can, I would say 3-shot you or 2-shot you. So I wanted to deal with the first one right now. Since I am using Lemonarch, I might as well just abuse it and hopefully I can take down at least one of them. I try to do as much DPS on the first one before the second one. Usually it likes to walk up in the middle all the time. So right now the Wyvern is close to the Hydra. So make sure when you are doing DPS at the Wyvern, or the Peacock Bex, which is a nickname I like to give them, since they do look like it, especially when going aggressive, make sure you just play merry-go-round, merry-go-death with the Wyverns. That way they won't use that very annoying deadly void attack. So now we took down the 2 Wyverns. But unfortunately we gotta take down 2 more. It all depends on how much damage you do on the Hydra. So I decided to stay here for a mini break. Because now there are 2 barrier champions which I have to take care of later, which is gonna be a nightmare. And then we got a couple of arc harpies to deal with, but they're completely harmless as a fly. So I wouldn't really worry too much about them until you get rid of the Wyverns. I was just double checking because I wanted to make sure if I do have enough heavy to deal with the Wyverns. And I was trying to figure out like where is the Hydra, you know, the one I'm supposed to babysit. You know, it's just floating around. And I had an idea of dealing with the barrier champions first, but then I changed my mind. So now I was waiting for this Hydra to flow towards me. It wasn't, so I decided to take down the harpies. So do make sure you take down the harpies and just be very careful with the barrier champions because sometimes they can enter the tunnel. Seriously, they do. Sometimes they do. It is completely random. Alright, so there's a baby Hydra. It just teleported right behind me. Great. I'm just so glad it wasn't a Wyvern. This is just great. Perfect. Be aware that the Hydra can shoot arc at you, so make sure you take down the harpies and then babysit the Hydra. Because sometimes you can just focus on one thing, then the Hydra starts shooting arc, and then there goes the run back to orbit. So just be aware where the Hydra is going and what it's doing. Once you clear down all the harpies, then definitely take down the baby Hydra. Alright, well, this Hydra has to go. So I'm definitely going to use my super. Because I do want to focus on the Wyverns when they do spawn up. Now I was just trying to do Lemonarch. And for some reason, even if you Lemonarch the shield, it can still get poison. Very weird because I remember old seasons ago it has never done this ever, but for this season it does. which is no big deal for me. I mean, if it does take advantage for GMs, then might as well use it. So abuse it and use it. Highly recommend. So now we're going to deal with 2 more of the Wyverns. And yes, they love to teleport. So always be aware of where they are. And just spam rockets. If you see them just teleport out of nowhere, you know, they use instant transmission on the middle of the tunnel. Just use rockets. 2 rockets and the finisher should work. Or maybe if you can throw your smoke if possible. Just to do massive DPS and to debuff the Wyvern. So now I have to play merry-go-round again, and let me just say this is extremely frustrating. So I have to be very careful because sometimes these harpies can get in the way and you can accidentally rocket yourself. So just be super careful with these harpies because they are going to be floating around trying to shoot void. But if you hide away, they're going to go back into floaty zone or floaty mode. You know, they just want to look. They're just watching you, you know. They just want to see you get killed by the Wyvern. Okay, that's basically what they're doing right now. They just want to see you die in this video. They just want to see you go back to orbit. Alright, that's the reason why they don't really shoot void. They don't really go aggressive. They just want to see what happens, you know. So now I have to deal with all these harpies. I don't have arc, so I have to spam lemon arc. And hopefully I can take them down. Now here's the best part. Now we get to deal with the barrier champions. Great. And how's my rocket? Let's see. I got 2 rockets. Not looking good, by the way. Okay, I see heavy, I think. Maybe I can grab a couple of heavy and then do DPS. So there are going to be 4 barrier champions, and it's going to be extremely frustrating when you have 2 rockets. Now I have 0. Well, at least I took down 1 of the barrier champions. I did saw heavy bricks, so I was really happy. You know, yay, heavy bricks, only 2 rockets. Gotta make sure I don't mess up, you know. I only have 2 rockets. It's gonna, you know, I gotta make it count. Alright, so we're gonna have barrier champions that huddle. You know, great. The only good thing about these barrier champions is they don't do ballerina twirls. Alright. Like Lightblade. They do ballerina twirls. These champions, they just huddle and protect each other way too much. And they like to walk away. And it's extremely annoying. I really hate them. So hopefully we can get 3 of the barrier champions. So this may take some time. Alright, so you can see that these barrier champions can be a bit frustrating. Especially if you're not using a linear fusion. This can be the weakest part of using a rocket. And this is when things can go very frustrated. Very frustrating. So make sure you just try your best to use your super. Don't hesitate. Use your super on the bigger champions. You'll get your super back. When you do take down both of the barrier champions, the last 2 will back away a bit. Just be aware that the solar sniper that they have can 2-shot you. So if both of them shoot at the same time, that's back to orbit. Now back in the day, these barrier champions used to 1-shot you. For this season, not anymore. So just to let everyone know, if you're curious, yes, when GMs were introduced, these barrier champions, they used to 1-shot me all the time. Now they don't, so it is way more easier than before. But as I said before, the only reason why this run is slow is because I have to be very patient dealing with the overload champions because I'm using rockets and I have to make the rockets count, or I'm gonna wind up just waiting for my super for each of the overload champions. See, it's these moments where I wish I was an arc subclass. I just want to throw an overload grenade, stagger these bigger champions, and then just throw a spear at them. It's just a show of my anger. I really hate when they do this. They just huddle. It's like, okay, Blitz, try again. No, I'm gonna protect you, bigger champion. Let's throw in this Guardian's DPS. Jesus, I really despise this so much. And the reason why I'm moving around, you know, doing the movement, is because I don't want to get sniped by these bigger champions. At the same time, I'm trying to take down, and I only have one rocket. You know, I want to make it count. Because I really don't want to mess up my DPS, and I really need these rockets for the next overload champions, right? So this is gonna take a while, so I'm gonna do a mini time skip of dealing with this barrier champion. Finally, I took down that barrier champion. Now we get to deal with overload champions. Great, perfect. But the good news is we don't have to babysit the Hydra until the next section where there's gonna be Wyverns. So mainly what you want to do over here is bait the overload champions. Now I decided to retreat, and the reason why I did that is because, well, my rockets are very limited. Two, there's gonna be these explosive ads that can mess up my DPS with the rocket. So I am going to wait for them to spawn. At the same time, I wanted to scout and see where the overload champions are. And then we got this big Hydra that floats around and likes to ruin everyone's DPS. So now I'm gonna wait, so I'm gonna do a mini time skip for this. Mainly what you want to do over here is just wait for these frantic ads to walk in the tunnel. Now the overload champions for this section, they don't seem to be very aggressive. They don't seem to always go in the tunnel. For some reason, you have to bait them. Usually for this phase, they don't really go to the tunnel so much. Not really compared to the first phase, right? So as I said before, I do want to clear down all these ads first before dealing with the overload champions. Alright, I only have 3 rockets. Alright, I'm not using a Taipan linear fusion, even though I wish I could have used it, but there are pros and cons. And we got these 2 overload champions together. Great. This is the best luck ever. I'm the happiest guardian. We got 2 overload champions together. How the Bungie am I gonna do this? You can't. I don't think you can do it, Blitz. I think I can. I just had to bait and hopefully just pray for the rockets to annihilate them. Hopefully. I don't think you can do it, Blitz. It's impossible. You can't do it. I think I can. Guardian Troll. See, I'm gonna throw my nade and then use my super. See, I took down one of the overload champions. In your face, Guardian Troll. See, it worked out. I beat one of them, right? And then, of course, we took it down. Still, I don't think you can do it. There's one more. Alright, well, I can beat the overload champion, right? And then I'm gonna make him go merry-go-death. And hopefully things will go clean as possible. So make sure you stagger the overload champion and then try your best to use the wall as cover. Since we're not on Warlock or Titan, you know, you could do the little dodge. if the minotaur is shooting void at you. Well, we can't do that on the... Well, we could, but we do want to save the dodge for rockets, you know. So once we took down the overload champion, now we got two more to go. Perfect. Now mainly what you want to do over here is do DPS at the overload, well, the boss. So I'm going to do a mini time skip for this, by the way. Once I do half of the health of the second bar, now we're going to have more overload champions. Now I'm going to try my best to see if I can take down the overload champion. But unfortunately the boss was floating from the left side, so I couldn't do anything. So I decided to retreat to my little hiding spot. That used to be the cheese behind me, but they closed it, you know? Mainly what I want to do here is clear down the ads. I'm just going to wait patiently. And I was just looking how much ammo I have. So I have 4 rockets. Okay, so far so good. So I decided to turn invisible and just scout, just see what is going on. So the boss is all the way from the left side. We got a couple of ads from far distance. We got overload champion from the middle of the map. As I said before, these overload champions don't seem to like to go inside the middle tunnel for this area. Especially on the last phase of overload champions. Not sure why, it always seems to happen. You can bait them, by the way, but it is very difficult to do. So I was trying to see if I can bait these overload champions, but it didn't work out at all. It didn't work out. I was trying. Here's just proof for overload champions. They don't really like going to the middle of this section for some reason, but yet they do it when the baby Hydra is floating around, but not when the other Hydra boss is floating around. I had an idea of trying to bait the overload champion to the tunnel. It didn't work out, unfortunately, so I had to do the old-fashioned, the most dangerous way, but I have no choice. So now we're gonna play hide and seek with the overload champions. So I saw 2 of them. Great, perfect, again. I don't think you can do it, Blitz. It's again. Oh, I'm pretty sure I can. All I have to do is just beat one of them and hopefully nothing will go wrong. And as I said before, you have to be very precise with your grenades. If you don't, then you're gonna wind up having to start all over again. So I decided to throw my nade, and I didn't do too 100% well. And you can see that my rocket missed. And this is extremely bad. So if you guys notice, I messed up my super and I messed up my rocket. And the reason why I messed up my rocket is because I didn't have that aim on auto tracking. So I basically messed up my super. See, Blizz, I told you couldn't do it. Who are you? Why don't you leave me alone and bother the top streamers? By the way, that's the Troll Guardian. Basically the part of me that always doubts myself. Alright, so things were looking really bad, by the way. So I had to pull back and then I had to rethink of what am I gonna do, because I wasted a super. And I got 2 overload champions walking like a psychopath, just waiting for me to go back to orbit. So I did saw the boss wasn't floating in the middle of the map, so I decided to try to take a risk and then just deal with both of them on this specific spot. I mean, it's not the best spot, by the way, extremely risky, but I had no choice. No choice at all. Seriously, it is just completely bad luck of me messing up my super. I even threw a nade. I threw a nade and my rocket missed. Could have used my finisher, but the boss, the final boss was there. The Overload champion was there. Even if I did a finisher, the boss could have annihilate me and the minotaur could have melee and shoot its void. So there was really no other choice of what I could have done on that situation. So now what I'm doing here is I'm trying to just spam Lemonarch and then just pull back. Not the safest strat, to be honest. I don't like doing this strat. I don't like it. It's too dangerous because sometimes I can get stuck in walls and mess up of my merry-go-death method. It's not really fun, to be honest. So now I'm going to be looking for ammo because, well, if you guys notice, I only had 0. And now we can actually go back to DPS. So I'm going to do a mini time skip for this. It's going to take a while. After spending 3 minutes of my life because this boss was moving around left and right, now we get to deal with the Wyverns and we get to babysit a Hydra at the same time. Great. Perfect. So usually the first phase, I try my best to take down the first Wyvern or at least make it up to its finisher mode. When doing that method, just make sure you see what's going on the left side because sometimes that Pacific Wyvern can sneak up on you. So I decided to pull back because I wanted to wait for my grenade. So I waited. I needed my grenade just in case something happens, and I was looking at how much ammo I have. So let's see, I got 1 rocket. Okay, not looking good, but alright, I'll try to make it work. And rocket is 1. Grenade charge almost. Smoke halfway. Alright, so far so good. So I'm gonna go back and hopefully we can deal with the Wyverns. And I saw a couple of them. And I didn't want to use my super. I wanted to use my super mainly on the Hydra. And there are going to be a couple barrier champions that will spawn. 2 of them, by the way. So because I wasted my nade, once again, I'm going to go wait for my grenade. I do have bomber, so you can actually spam your dodge to regain the grenade charge up. So I was just waiting patiently once again. I mean, give me a break, guys. I only have 1 rocket. And I want to use my super on the Hydra. So my ammo was very limited. And I had to be very careful because after I deal with the Wyverns, I have to deal with barrier champions. I definitely need rockets for that. So I did see the Wyverns. I decided to throw my nade. Also, you can throw your smoke. That's one thing I also did just to debuff it. Throw my nade. And hopefully he will be taken down. And I swear his health gained up a bit. Maybe it's just me. But anyway, we did take down the Wyvern. You can also use your finisher. I was just double checking, you know, just in case. I didn't want to see the second Wyvern to be next to it, because if you use your finisher, the second Wyvern can 2-shot you. And it's not the best. It is not a fun experience, trust me, it happened to me. So now we're going to deal with the last Wyvern. Once we dealt with the last Wyvern, then we can actually deal with the barrier champions. And his health regained back again. What the bungee is going on? Did you see that goblin? It regained its health back. So I wasn't over exaggerating. So the Wyvern did regain his health a bit. Alright, so I'm going to do a couple of shots on the baby Hydra. I was just double checking, by the way, just to see how many barrier champions are there. And I was trying to see if I could maybe take down the barrier champions. I didn't think it was possible, so I decided to just take down this Hydra. But then he ran away. He ran away to the boss. Hopefully he'll float back to the tunnel. Alright, so far so good. Everything is working out. I did pull back a bit. I am going to use my super very soon. I just want to make sure I do enough damage with Lemonarch. Because I don't want this Hydra to be alive when a Wyvern spawn. Mainly I want to take down this Hydra right away. Make sure my super does a lot of damage. And then finally we can deal with the bigger champions after that. So eventually I will use my super. Eventually. Honestly, I think I was just having way too much fun with Lemonarch. It's just so fun poisoning the Hydra. So once we dealt with the Hydra, now we're gonna deal with the last Wyverns. So this one was a bit annoying. I was trying to see where the Wyverns are. They teleported way too fast. This is one of the reasons why I just want to take down the Hydra right away. Because these Wyverns, they can teleport really fast, and sometimes it can be unpredictable. You have to really hear their teleportation sound to see what they're doing. Which is why I turned off the music, by the way, because I wanted to focus and hear my surroundings a bit better. And honestly, I am fed up with the music for Glassway. Especially on GMs, it can be very annoying, especially when you go back to orbit and same again, boss fight, back to orbit, boss fight, back to orbit. It could be a bit annoying. So I was just double checking of where the Wyvern is. So far so good. I see him floating, well not floating, walking. Doesn't seem he will notice me, so I was happy that I am right behind him. I want to make sure I am far away from that psychopathic Wyvern. So now we get to deal with bigger champions. Oh great, perfect. What could go wrong? So as I said before, I will do some mini time skips. So first, we're gonna take down the goblins. And let me explain a little bit about the bigger champions. So mainly what you want to do is make sure you bait the boss all the way from the left side. Or all the way from the left side to deal with the bigger champions. So when you do see the bigger champions, immediately take them down right away. So right now I was seeing the shadow and I was trying to figure out if it was the boss or another bigger champion. I saw that the Hydra was all the way from there, so I decided to move and then deal with the middle barrier champion. So if you see the boss from the right side, just move to the middle, and then also if you see the boss in the middle, then bait the boss to the left side. So yeah, you can see that there are a lot of champions. And this can be a bit complicated, to be honest, because there's gonna be this bear champion on top that will try to snipe you. And teleport. Did I mention there are teleportations in Glassway? See, this is one of the reasons this run was slow. Overload champion at the boss fight, and then these barrier champions. Just perfect. Just my luck. So hopefully we can take down this barrier champion so we can get platinum. But Blitz, if you tag it, you can get platinum. I tried it. It doesn't really work consistently. I wouldn't really recommend it, but if you don't really care about platinum, then I would just kill the boss right away, to be honest. Alright, so because this glitchy barrier champion was bothering me, I decided to just take down this barrier champion right away. So I am going to deal with this barrier champion right now. Hopefully nothing bad will happen. I am hearing some barrier champion sniping me, so I'm trying my best to get rid of it right away. Alright. 1 down, 3 to go. So now I'm going to take down this barrier champion. Hopefully. So I was trying to throw a grenade, a smoke. Hopefully nothing bad will happen. Please, please. I am praying for the bungee. Please, boss, don't float to the middle. Okay. 2 more to go. This is going great. The boss Hydra is not... well, my luck is gone. Great, thank you, Bungie. So the boss was floating in the middle, so I tried to bait him to the right side. I was so close, I was about to take down 3 of them in one go, but nope. Bungie's like, nah, Blitz, you gotta do it the right way. And what's the right way? You gotta be more patient. Alright, so for this part, I was having some trouble. I actually had to take a risk. By the way, I was trying my best to take down this bigger champion. But then, things happen. This bear champion decided to walk away. That is extremely annoying. And because it was way close to the boss, all the effort and DPS is gone. I had to start all over again. Do you see why using rockets is very limited for this season? Great. What a waste. Now I have to time skip so I can do DPS Beard Champion again. I have to move this Hydra to a different direction. So I had to make the boss move all the way from the left side and then this Bear Champion was walking away. But then the boss moved, by the way, quickly. And I actually had to risk. So I used my super you saw over there, and then I used my finisher. So I did try to make the boss move from the left side, but then all of a sudden he teleported and then just went back to the right side. So I had to risk it and use my super, grenade, and finisher. And now we had to deal with the girlfriend of the boss, and this is when things can be a bit irritating. So usually what I do with the last barrier champion is I try to make the boss move left and right. And usually the best way to deal with the last barrier champion is the middle. And sometimes the method doesn't work. I just keep trying it over and over. So I'm gonna bait the boss. Okay, boss, over here. It's Blitz. Okay, I'm gonna move over here. So I saw the girl from the boss, and I had to take her down immediately. And then all of a sudden I got a seasonal challenge completed. I'm not really sure what happened there, but alright, yay. You know, we made it work. So the best method, as I said before, is bait the boss to move all the way from the left side and then pray for the girl from the boss will move to the middle. If not, try again. Make the boss move to the left side again, because it will move to the middle. It will try its best to protect it. And now you can actually do DPS at the boss. So I am gonna do a mini time skip for this one. I decided to make the boss move from the right side, and there was one thing that I was a bit shocked. I noticed you can use Lemon Arc on the shield. So you can actually shoot the purple shield and still poison the boss, which I did not know, and I wish I knew that earlier so I could have made the run more faster. But it's okay, no one's perfect. I found out the last minute, by the way. Had no idea. Just recently found out you can just shoot the shield and not even worry about the boss. You could just use Lemon Arc, shoot the orange shield, and you can still do damage. So wow, I cannot believe it. I wish I knew this earlier. So yeah, so just shoot the orange shield, by the way, and you'll definitely do massive DPS at the boss. I wish I knew that earlier. It's okay. You know, it is what it is. No one's perfect. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. And we got Platinum. Yay!